What up, Vigilantes? I'm going to wait till everybody gets in the room before we get started. Good morning, guys. Hope everyone's having a great day. Good morning, GM. We open up this space to talk about what I consider to be the most interesting of technologies in the space. We're going to talk about DERO again, because it only merits that we talk about it as much as possible. We talked about it last week, and we had another space scheduled for Sunday. And guys, I'm so sorry I couldn't make it. Something in my family showed up. I learned my lesson. Schedule things on the weekend. Weekends. My family just gets, my family is a big Latin family. And so much happens on a weekend for me that I should never schedule anything like this on a weekend. So I apologize to the DERO community for missing our commitment on Sunday, but it's okay because crypto never sleeps. And so we are here to continue this conversation. For everyone that is new, welcome to our exploration into this new world of the first proof of work, private by default smart contract protocol, the DERO network. And as the rest of crypto figures things out regarding how to scale, there are people in crypto that have realized that there are some things that are more important than others, and that instead of getting caught up with the noise and in the momentum of going viral at the present moment, they're building from the ground up foundations that are necessary for our future. Foundations that are necessary for us to have alternatives. And it seems as if a lot of people in crypto disregard privacy because it's not something that it is immediate. It's something that it's not something that it's conducive to liquidity, because by its very nature, privacy requires that you take shelter, that you hide away, really, that you have a personal space. Privacy and the investment of time, energy, and development into privacy protocols is one that champions the individual in their autonomy. It is not that by its nature focuses on gaining extreme market adoption right away. So it's a tug of war, right? Focusing between what's most important for the individual and what's most important for everyone else in the market. Now, could you imagine a world where that aspect of the individual is already taken care of, while at the same time providing for the virality and the liquidity necessary for an on-chain economy where incentives are aligned? That to me is very weird and very new. That to me is something very, it's something that most of us have not even experienced. We haven't experienced it actually as human beings, because it really, we haven't experienced it in this age of technology, definitely in this age of crypto. There's been people that have acted as if that reality existed, but in reality, that reality has not existed till now is attempting to exercise those capabilities. And when we look out into the future as to what those capabilities mean, I'm left almost flabbergasted, because the last time human beings had so much freedom and independence where people discovered new continents and they homesteaded in territories far away from their native lands, right? For the first time in history that we saw. Well, one thing to note is that times in history we never where people discovered new continents and they homesteaded in territories far away from their native lands, right? For the first time in history that we saw. But one thing to know is that times in history, we never had the technology to be as interconnected as we can be and are now. So we find ourselves exploring brand new territory. And a lot of people in crypto tend to be very tribal. And that's a very unfortunate psychological effect that I think comes from the conditioning of government through schooling and through the media, the fourth branch of the government. But now we're moving into a world where you can have that independence, and where the legacy infrastructure of the corporate world does not at all hold up the technological capabilities that we have. So you can have your homestead and you can be more interconnected than ever before at the same time. The options that we have in crypto tend to violate your sovereignty. They tend to expose you to mass surveillance. I'll give you guys an example right now. So as you guys know, I'm an enthusiast of the big block experimentation of Bitcoin scaling. And one of the cool things that they're doing is that they're trying to collaborate with each other as entrepreneurs on chain. And they're just trying to figure out what to do with the ingredients that they have as chefs, right? So if you think about it this way, you're a chef and you're looking at the ingredients you have in your kitchen and you're just cooking, trying to come up with different recipes. Well, one of the recipes that they came up with is a really cool one called HODL Locker. I'm like, all right, great. But I don't want to use it because it exposes. If I use it too much, it would expose my wallets and my identity. So I would have to take measures to make myself as private as possible to use these interfaces. And it's bothersome. It bothers me. And it should bother you as well. Whereas in the world where we have privacy already taken care of for you from the jump, you don't have to worry about that. You can just interact from a place of peace, from a place of sovereignty. So that's where we're at. That's what we're experimenting with. And people tell me, well, they're just kind of making fun of me in one of these channels, like, oh, so Raf, he's all into DERO. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I think every intelligent investor should be involved in all aspects of technology and should be learning about all aspects of technology. Guys, I work with a team that the vast majority of my team does not agree with me. Some of them are small blockers. Some of them are privacy enthusiasts. Some of them are big blockers. Some of them are NFT people that enjoy NFTs. Others don't like NFTs. But that's the thing, guys. We have to constantly be seeking. And it is by seeking that differential knowledge that we find profit in the market. One of our listeners right now, and he might come up, is Mr. A, technical analyst at the Crypto Vigilante. And it's really cool to watch his journey because he's someone who when he discovered DERO, and he has said it before, it's like this. It was akin to when he discovered Bitcoin. And when I hear a Bitcoin OG, a fellow analyst like Mr. A say something like that, and I hear Mr. X say the same thing. I hear Mr. Z say the same thing. Guys that I'm honored to know throughout the history of Bitcoin and crypto say similar things about DERO. I realize that that we're dealing with something very new, something largely undiscovered, and something that is alien to most people, especially in crypto. Mr. A, thank you for being with us today. I know you're on a yacht right now. You're on a boat somewhere, so I'm actually happy you were able to tune in. How are you doing tonight? And if we have technical difficulties but it's cool that you're here, and yeah. So DERO is to me a mystery, and it's a mystery that I think it's important to explore, because when you talk about DERO, you start shining light to every other protocol on the planet, because now you're asking everyone else to, at the very least, measure up to this idea. Okay, let's say you're brand new to this conversation and you're like, what the fuck is going on here? What's homomorphic encryption? We don't have to get into the cryptography of it at this moment. We will maybe later on, maybe in this conversation, maybe in other conversations. But let's just talk conceptual aspect of what we're dealing with right now and what that means to us as human beings. It means that you can create. You can enter into the most interconnected mathematical graph, the blockchain, in the way that is more secure than anything you've ever seen before, where the messages and the data passed around is not even decrypted. It's only decrypted at the end to end user. So it makes me wonder, and it makes me You know, when the human person uses the imagination, you're actually tapping into your memory, right? You guys know that, right? You know, the scholastics used to talk about how, you know, that we have interior senses. Well, just like we have exterior senses, you know, the five senses, we also have interior senses, memory, imagination. They also called the cogitative sense. Well, the imagination creates phantasms based on your, well, they used to call them phantasms, in your mind from your memories. And DERO gives me possibilities that I am right now as a human person, given my experience, I am not capable right now to imagine as much because I don't have that much, that amount of freedom in my memories. And any freedom of memory, any memories of freedom that we have as human beings need to be preserved so that we can actually create. And that's kind of like the catch-22 that I see happening is that like we have the ability to be as creative as we want to be with these new technologies and to be extremely free with something like DERO. But yet it seems as if the vast majority of us have been indoctrinated by government to do away with our creative capacities. And so we're like children again, trying to exercise these things that were taken away from most of us, right? A lot of people there's some geniuses out there that preserve them. We call them artists, people that are capable of seeing beyond the immediate experience. That's why I love artists. Mr. A, are you there? Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Perfect. You're coming in very good.
Oh, excellent. That's excellent. Okay, so the sound working right now, which is awesome.
Nice.
Okay, I caught most of it. Was cutting out at first, but I got steady sound right now.
Perfect.
And yeah, I caught your intro, but I missed some of it. So pardon me if I'm not fully up to date.
No, it's fine. It's just pretty much the same old conundrum that I keep coming back to personally. You've maybe heard talk about in the past, which is that there is just something that extends beyond our experience, right? We've never experienced so much privacy while having the ability to be so interconnected before in history, and that we see a lot of networks attempting to give you that, but then they don't have that privacy at the protocol level that DERO offers. So when we talk about DERO, it calls everyone else in crypto to like step up, and it calls all of us to actually think about what's capable with this technology. And that's where I'm at. You're an artist, Mr. A. So tell me, how do you approach dealing with something so new that it's just, when I talk about DERO, I lose my language because it's almost as if we're dealing with so much freedom that we don't even have the concept.
Yeah, it's unlimited basically.
That.
Yeah, I think it's unlimited. And I think when we encounter something new like this, the thing you can really do is play with it. You have to go back to being a child and just play with it and get to know it. Put it all together and take it all apart, put it all together again, take all the Lego pieces apart and just like do stuff with it and get to know it so you can start making use of it. And in fact, on one of my chats earlier today, somebody just posted the beta version of Airbnb. And I think that's as of right now, I think between DERO NFTs and Airbnb, we now have two excellent looking UIs that will attract people to the ecosystem. And I think the UI is very, very key to making things like that work. I think all those viral apps that they use show us when they're just launching, their UI and the ease of use is what makes it viral. And I think what DERO needs is basically the UI on those dApps to be viral. We have the G45 wallet coming, which will be a gateway for new people to get into it with a beautiful interface. They can get into those other dApps, like those two that I just mentioned. And you're saying that most of the population has been indoctrinated to not care about privacy, and that is true. In fact, I think the word privacy is almost a turnoff for most of them. As soon as you say privacy, they kind of like shake their heads and like they're whatever, because privacy is not sexy. Privacy is not viral. If privacy was sexy, everybody would be using Signal app instead of everything else they use to communicate. So that shows you that that's the case. So because of that, I think DERO needs to really focus on user interface, user views, talking about all the sexy things that it can do that are not privacy, like pretty much everything else about it, the speed, the homomorphic encryption, the essentially the search engine that is built into it, and the ability to do tokens natively. The tokens are actual tokens that you own. They're not a smart contract assignment. It's not a fake assignment to your wallet that they can take away anytime. All those things we talked about first, get them really, really excited about it. It's like, oh, this thing's awesome. And at the end, like, oh, by the way, and it's private. And then at that point, they're over their resistance to privacy that are from the indoctrination, and they'll be stoked to be using something that's super advanced because it's so cool. It's I mean, in a way, DERO is like an iPhone moment for blockchain. It just changes the way everything works, and they need to see the iPhone, and that's also private, and feel good about it, and want to start using it. So that's where I stand with what to do with something that's so new and how to get it out to the people who don't think privacy is so sexy. Hopefully you guys caught all that.
We caught all of it, man, and you make complete sense, man. It's like, the thing is that this is something that I've been wrestling with, and it's not something that should stop us. It's something that should unite us to create more dialogue regarding this topic. The word privacy in itself, the concept of privacy, is naturally antithetical to virality, and we live in a world where the market, seeks attention. Right? We live in a market that is driven by attention. So I'll give you an example, right? The reason why I took the initiative to have this space and to have these spaces for DERO is because I see a lot of DERO enthusiasts out of Discord. I'm like, dude, Discord is like, okay, cool, man. Yeah, but the main plaza for, global chit chat is X, is Twitter. So that's why we're having these conversations. That's why we're going to have these conversations, because this is the thing. It's actually funny, right? It's a funny paradox, right? The privacy enthusiast gets in its own way of going viral. What do you think of that idea, phrase, concept that I just put out there?
Oh, I think you just nailed it. I think you just nailed it. It's so private that you stay in this. I'm gonna use a term that's not so nice. I'm gonna call it the circle jerk. It's the circle jerkacy, and that circle is not welcoming any new people, and that's the problem. And you actually have to be unprivate to get the word out about this thing, and that's the only way to do it, is to be more in your face of other people, which gets you out of that privacy circle jerk, which is stopping it. And I've seen that with Monero. I've been in Monero since the beginning, and Monero is always like, oh, when people realize
you're rugging, mister, you're rugging.
Oh, can you hear me?
Back. TL, how are you tonight? I see you jumped on. What are your thoughts on what I just mentioned, right? TL, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Yeah, I could also hear DERO 18. Anyway, I think I was following the last 5-10 minutes, and I pretty much agree with you. Hear me?
There you go. We can hear you. What's up?
Okay. I think your connection maybe has a problem, because sometimes you get interrupted. I don't know why. Maybe your Wi-Fi. Anyway, I think it's important to repeat sometimes, the fundamentals of DERO, like that layer 1, the balances are all encrypted, and that it has smart contracts on top. And there are some very important design choices that the developers of DERO have made. Like, DERO wasn't something that they just swinged to get some funding, some VC funding or something. Like, a lot of thought has gone into this project, and there are very good reasons behind every choice they have made, every design decision. So starting from the fact that they encrypt only the balances, even though the technology was there to encrypt everything, they decided to encrypt only the balances because they wanted smart contracts. So for smart contracts, it's important to know where the money will be returned and stuff. So they keep the addresses of the account unencrypted, but at the same time, then to maintain anonymity when between users, when they send and receive transactions, you have ring signatures. So your address basically gets mixed with other 16 or 32 addresses, that existing addresses in the network. When you choose the size of the ring, and this allows you to have what is known as deniability. And again, wiring signatures, because for smart contracts, again, the smart contract must know where to return the money during an operation. And for that, you use ring signature too. And then there will be more tools, of course, because maybe people will use one address for something and something else for something else, like to gamble, one address, one to trade, and one for saving, like that. So, but behind every, I mean, DERO achieves the maximum degree of anonymity that allowed by, if you also want the smart contract capability. And at the same time, there were some very important choices made in the smart contracts in the VM design. Like DERO prioritizes security above all. In fact, it's like a re-entrancy immune, and it is also approvals immune. These are some very common attacks in Ethereum, for example. So aside from being anonymous, it's also much more secure, technically speaking. And at the same time, though, it's like there's been a lot of debate inside the DERO community, right? How you define a private smart contract. And in DERO, private smart contract means that when you interact with a DERO smart contract, like your account is encrypted, you decide, you control your exposure, how much you want to the outside world. Whereas in Ethereum, if you interact with a smart contract, like you basically dox yourself, you dox your entire financial history. Whereas in DERO, like only what you interact with the smart contract is visible. And now some people say, oh, but why don't we have completely private smart contracts where the code is private, everything is private? But in that case, how do you audit a smart contract, right? How do you know that the smart contract is not malicious or it's not functioning as intended, and so on and so forth? So now we will see, and there will be a trend with homomorphic encryption, with HE, like already these VCs are spinning up these money-grabbing, these scams to try to get a slice of this from the pie to come with this narrative, and they'll try to put together words like FHE, smart contracts, we do this, we do that. But the bottom line is that if you want to see what a serious project where developers have put a lot of thought into it, have considered everything, and have pondered have made some important design choices for some very important reasons. DERO, it's not just a money grab. It's not something that was born out of nowhere to make some money from a trend. Like, this has been around since 2018, but they have done a lot of research. Like also Crypto, it was explaining the other time, like the first iteration was discarded in the end because it wasn't possible with the UTXO model to do smart contracts with CryptoNote. It's too difficult, so they had to start from scratch and build a new blockchain based on the account model on top of using homomorphic encryption, and then adding smart contracts, and then private smart contracts. And then even in the private smart contracts, you have different options in DERO where you again can control how much you show. So all things considered, I think like us also DERO 18, like it's a paradigm shift in many ways, and it's a kind of privacy that people are not used to, and people are maybe even scared to claim, because some might even think so much privacy, so much freedom is illegal, but when it's not, because freedom is never illegal, right? It's like so I think it's important above all to educate and to talk about the DERO technology and to repeat them ad nauseam until people learn the ins and outs, because there are some very important design choices in DERO that will also expose, are important to know the rationale behind every design choice, because a lot of fraudsters, a lot of the money grabs will come out using the term FHE to try to lure folks or to create FOMO and pump and dumps, etc., and to gloss over the fundamentals of what matters and what is needed to deliver privacy with homomorphic encryption and smart contracts.
Okay. So let me stop you right there. I want to ask you for clarity. FHE means full homomorphic encryption.
Right.
Please explain what full homomorphic encryption is.
Yeah. So basically, an encryption scheme is called like being fully homomorphical if you can at the same time compute both multiplications and additions, right? So in this sense, AMAL, which is the encryption scheme used by DERO, like strictly speaking, using this definition is not homomorphically complete, because you cannot also perform multiplications at the same time as additions. However, to update in DERO, like homomorphic encryption in a blockchain is used to update the account balances, which means that even if you use an FHE encryption scheme, at the end of the day, you would only add and subtract, right? Because when A sends money to B, then you remove from A and add to the balance of B. to do this through homomorphic encryption means without ever decrypting the balance of A, you broadcast miners add the encrypted amount to the balance of B by subtracting it from A. So even if you had an FHE scheme, you would just be doing exactly what DERO does. So in this sense, like DERO, this is why according to some definitions and others, DERO is fully homomorphical, and according to others, it's not. It's simply homomorphical. In either case, it's like DERO achieves the maximum degree of privacy, because even if you use, you just the difference is basically just something academic, like a bit abstract. But in practice, it doesn't matter when you are dealing with a blockchain, because in a blockchain you simply add and subtract balances.
Right on. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So let's give, this is the thing, man, is that like these conversations can go very left curve, and by that you can get into very Jedi talk, right? Where we're talking about the encryption and very, high-end geeky stuff, right? And there's a place for that as well, right? But like, Mr. A, are you back with us? Or was I the one rugging?
You were the one rugging, actually. I got a few messages from people saying rugging.
Okay, thank you, guys. I moved closer to the to my connection source. So so the question is, how can we bridge the gap better between that which is viral and that which gives us security and privacy?
Well, that's something I've been talking about. The first thing. And it goes back to your first statement was that, privacy prevents virality, because they kind of go against each other. The people in the privacy circle have to kind of step out and dive into, places like X and other communities and start broadcasting the message of DERO. But the key really is, do not broadcast the message by saying privacy, 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 and waving the flag of privacy first. That is not going to work. That's the unfortunate reality. Is that for Joe Public, crypto bro, that is just not going to work. But the sexy parts of DERO that they can really geek out on work really well. So focus on those, and then and it's private as the last point. I think that's how it needs to be.
Lay on me. Tell us why. What are the sexy parts of DERO? Let's get into them.
What are the sexy parts of DERO? First of all, we're just having the conversation about homomorphic encryption and the debate between being full or partial. Let's just keep it simple. Full homomorphic encryption allows multiplication and division, and partial is only addition and subtraction. Except for a blockchain, you don't need multiplication and division anyways. So why would you spend all this extra energy to create a full homomorphic encryption technology when you actually don't need to do half of it? So it's perfectly fine to be partial, in quotes. The word partial does not mean bad. It's just as private, except it can't produce multiplication and division transactions, which is fine. It's perfectly fine. A blockchain doesn't need that. You can do all kinds of funky multiplication things on the smart contract and create a result that will get added or subtracted at the end by the blockchain. So that's fine. So we can always focus on that part, which is the technology of securing the network. Instead of saying, hey, homomorphic encryption is really private, how about we say, hey, this is the most secure technology you can possibly have on a blockchain to keep it secure, and focus on that. And the fact that it's private, it's secondary. It's the best. It's never gets decrypted anywhere along the way, and it's super fast. So focus on that first as a main point, that it's a very, very, very capable blockchain, and it is the best security you can possibly have for that blockchain. If that makes sense, so how we can focus on that debate that we just had. So that's the first thing, if you're going to refer to that part. The second part, which I think is really important, is that it does smart contracts. That's the sexy part of it. And we say, it is smart contracts. It does it in a language that's simple to use. It's called DBasic, and it's fantastic. It lets people who want to get just started with making smart contracts code them more easily than Solidity, which is an absolute nightmare and requires a lot of experience. So that's very, very good. The third part, which I have to say, it's actually really fast. I need to focus on how fast it actually is. It's actually insanely fast for a blockchain. It's pretty much instant syncing. The transactions are nearly instant, and we have a good exchange, like trade order, perform a withdrawal. and by the time you look at your wallet, it's already there, and you just transfer over to your other device, and it's already there. I mean, that's ridiculous. Not only that, it's finalized. You're not waiting for the next block to finalize it. It's finalized. It's done. It's locked and sealed in stone, and it's never going to go anywhere or get undone by that. So I think those 3 points are very important first points that we need to tell, like I said, Joe Public, crypto bro who likes the cool stuff. They need to know that. And we start from there and build our way out of that into the more complex, then we get into the really geeky things. What's the supply, atomic units, what's the block reward, what's the difficulty, and all those other things that, blockchain, especially proof of work blockchain people like to nerd on. But those first points that I talked about are really the thing that need to be pushed first. And after all that, it's like, oh, by the way, guys, it's totally private.
Okay, so we have speed. All right, so we have speed, security, and what was the last thing? And smart contracts.
Smart
contracts. What about cost effectiveness? How much does it cost right now to post on DERO?
That's cheap. It's like very cheap. I think minting a very, very, very large NFT collection on DERO would cost, its price is about $200. So definitely cheaper than ETH, that's for sure. Oops. Did you guys lose me again?
I'm right here, guys. I'm right here. Can you hear me?
So, yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you rugged.
Did you catch any of that?
You rugged a little bit. Yeah, we caught it. You said, okay. What was $200?
To mint a very large NFT collection on DERO right now would be about $200, which is very affordable compared to a similarly sized ETH collection right now, which would be very expensive compared to that.
Have you guys?
And I'm just talking transaction fees, right? Like to do, each transaction to make each NFT, it will probably be about that to do a very large one.
Do you guys expect for prices to get cheaper the more the DERO blockchain is used?
I do believe G45 is working on an update to make the smart contract interactions become even cheaper with fees. So that is coming. I don't think it's for more people using it. I think it would just be an optimization to make it even better and cheaper.
Right on. So I heard talk about VCs, as TL was talking earlier. I personally see VCs as I hate VCs. I don't like VCs. I actually used to be one. And I because they don't understand, they're very boomer. They don't understand Web3. And I can see them as being an impediment to growth. And they can actually foster the creation of walled gardens. And they can literally stray people away from building on-chain, open source, and interoperably. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you. I think by the time something catches their attention, it's already kind of late in the game. And like you said, and they usually just see the shiny part and not the substance. Hence, we have all their shit coins going everywhere that are debacked, but they don't really do much new other than whatever shiny thing they were told was going to be the thing that makes it go. But at the end of the day, it comes to substance, and most of them are just forks or forks of forks. They're just repeating the same thing again with a slight change, and that's why there's no substance. That's the thing about DERO. I mean, if you want to focus on what's cool about it, and like when introducing it to Crypto Bro, it's the fact that it's absolutely written from scratch and it's not a fork of anything. That's another big point.
That's beautiful. So TL, what's up, man? You don't have to raise your hand, bro. You can just jump in. What's up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let finish because just already earlier, since you also spoke about user experience, and I think privacy is also a dimension of user experience because you cannot have good user experience without privacy. Operating, using, like minting NFTs, buying and selling, trading on a transparent blockchain, it's basically like living in a house, in a glass house in Times Square with an open door policy. Like anyone can see what you are doing. God knows who manages to identify you, how you're like sooner or later. I mean, already in some of us that have been in crypto for long enough, we are aware of these risks, so we care about privacy. And others, as more users are onboarded, more people are going to care about it. So I think it's inevitable that privacy becomes an important dimension
Did you guys lose me again?
I'm right here, guys. I'm right here. Can you hear me?
So yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, you rugged.
Did you catch any of that?
You rugged a little bit. Yeah, we caught it. You said
Okay.
what was $200?
To mint a very large NFT collection on DERO right now would be about $200, which is very affordable compared to a similarly sized ETH collection right now, which would be very expensive compared to that.
Have you guys?
And I'm just talking transaction fees, right? Like to do each transaction, each NFT, it would probably be about that to do a very large one.
Do you guys expect for prices to get cheaper the more the DERO blockchain is used?
I do believe G45 was working on an update to make the smart contract interactions become even cheaper with fees. So that is coming. I don't think it's for more people using it. I think it would just be an optimization to make it even better and cheaper.
Right on. So I heard talk about VCs, as TL was talking earlier. I personally see VCs as I hate VCs. I don't like VCs. I actually used to be one. And I because they don't understand, they're very boomer. They don't understand Web3. And I can see them as being an impediment to growth. And they can actually foster the creation of walled gardens. And they can literally stray people away from building on-chain, open source, and interoperably. What are you guys' thoughts on that?
I mean, I agree with you. I think by the time something catches their attention, it's already kind of late in the game. And like you said, they should just see the shiny part and not the substance. Hence, we have all their shit coins going everywhere that are debacked, but they don't really do much new other than whatever shiny thing they were told was going to be the thing that makes it go. But at the end of the day, it comes to substance, and most of them are just forks or forks of forks. They're just repeating the same thing again with a slight change, and that's why there's no substance. That's the thing about DERO. I mean, if you want to focus on what's cool about it, and like when introducing it to Crypto Bro, it's the fact that it's absolutely written from scratch and it's not a fork of anything. That's another big point.
That's beautiful. So TL, what's up, man? You don't have to raise your hand, bro. You can just jump in. What's up?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to let finish because just already earlier, since you also spoke about user experience, and I think privacy is also a dimension of user experience because you cannot have good user experience without privacy. Operating, using, like minting NFTs, buying and selling, trading on a transparent blockchain, it's basically like living in a glass house in Times Square with an open door policy. Like anyone can see what you are doing. God knows who manages to identify you, how you're like sooner or later. I mean, already in some of us that have been in crypto for long enough, we are aware of these risks, so we care about privacy. And others, as more users are onboarded, and more people are going to care about it. So I think it's inevitable that privacy becomes an important dimension of user experience. And in this sense, I believe be emphasized a lot that DERO has the highest degree of privacy possible. Like that's a very important aspect of user experience. That's why I also use the DERO CLI wallet, and it feels good because even though the user interface isn't so friendly, I know that it's 100% surveillance proof. And pertaining VCs, I think anyone. I mean, I believe in the free market. As long as VCs don't capture core team, I think any builder is free to look for funding anywhere they can. VCs, if they manage to pull it off, why not? The problem with VCs, I believe, starts when they try to capture the protocol development. So they impose some targets on the team, which can go against the certain principles of decentralization. Because of course, as a VC, you want to contain risk and decentralization. Even though we love it, as from the cypherpunk point of view, from the enterprise risk management point of view, decentralization sucks because it brings in a lot of uncertainty because you don't know what turn this protocol can take, right? Because if it's decentralized, or at the same time, if it's decentralized, you might not be able to change anything in it, and it might clash with your objectives, etc. So I think VCs are a positive factor as long as they are contained within projects and stay out of the development that is supposed to be the infrastructure of the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, if you by all means, find a real cool VC that understands the ethos of building by all means, you got yourself an amazing business partner. But good luck finding one, right? That's the challenge. So we're talking about wallets, and I noticed today that there is a universal wallet. I forget the name of it. I think it was just dropped on the GitHub today. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? The universal DERO wallet?
Yeah, we're talking about the G45 wallet that's been developed since the summer, and it's coming along really nicely. And because it's universal and runs on everything, and it does not only DERO tokens, NFTs, and also has DERO DEX connectivity, so you can also do token swaps all within the wallet. I think when that thing goes live, it's going to be very similar to Monero GUI moment, where Monero finally had a GUI after being CLI for a long time, and people were finally able to use it and give it to their friends who are not very tech savvy, and have something that's useful for them that they can play with. And like I said, playing with new tech is the first step to getting people involved. When that wallet is fully out and you can get it on Google Play, you can get it on Apple App Store and put it on your phone and start playing with it on your mobile device pretty much immediately, that is going to attract a lot more attention to the ecosystem.
All right, so Mr. A, look, all right, so you guys need to get to know Mr. A a little better. Mr. A was amongst the crew of guys that first started charting in the Bitcoin talk forums in 2010, okay? He's been around for a while. And you said something that caught my attention when we first started really, discovering DERO. You said that DERO, there have been 3 times in crypto history that you've been extremely amazed. Your discovery of Bitcoin, your discovery of Monero, and your discovery of DERO. How does DERO compare to your discovery of Monero and Bitcoin?
It's much more similar to my discovery of Monero, because my discovery of Bitcoin, I was pretty much a non-believer at first, so that was a little different. But discovery of Monero was very similar. The community vibe was very similar. Monero wasn't really worried too much about making things happen, as quickly as possible. They took their time. They built their product. It was a CLI forever, and then it had a big moment when it finally got a GUI, and it had a second massive moment when it started getting used in dark markets. So that caused a massive price signal. And the way the chart looks is very, very, very similar to early Monero. Even the price action is similar in terms of US dollars. After, Monero, after doing a run into the 20s, went back down to $2. And then finally, when GUI live, it went to 3 figures. And then it had another pretty big dip. And from then it got out to a dark market. And then, in a matter of 3 weeks, it was $500. So the chart structure is very similar. I just keep looking at them and they're rhyming in a way. So that's why I'm so bullish on it. Hopefully everyone caught all that.
Yeah, man, we heard you with our options.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Raph is rugging now.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. So I have an artist right now that has been traveling around the world, and he's a buddy of mine. And I'm going to take him to Nonsensus to draw something for the DERO community while we're there. So that's kind of like a little treat that I'm bringing to Nonsensus. But yeah, there's it's like an art gallery here right now. So there's people lined up watching him draw, just coming out of nowhere. So yeah, I apologize if the Wi-Fi gets interrupted. But yeah, so it's in other words, Mr. A, you're saying DERO's a big deal then.
Yeah, well, absolutely. It's a big deal. It has all the pieces in place to be great. And it needs to avoid the mistakes that Monero has made. It doesn't fall in trap. It goes right at the beginning that, too much privacy prevents exposure and virality. We need to avoid that trap and not be caught in a circle jerk of privacy. We're just interacting with each other and not bringing new people into this ecosystem. That there's so many other things than privacy. Don't get me wrong. I think privacy is important and it should definitely be talked about. But as an introduction to new people, the unfortunate reality, it's a turnoff, and can't make that mistake again, which Monero did.
Yeah, guys, you will never find me on the DERO Discord ever. Think of it as a waste of time. I'm a communicator. I will only talk about DERO in public here on X Spaces. And I challenge all you guys out there to literally don't wait for me to do an X space on DERO. Like, start one after this one ends. Like, heck, do one every day. Like, the conversation here is to be had at all times. And you guys are going to be surprised at how many creative individuals will be coming to this network. Because it indeed is a very unique network, guys. Like, I don't talk about things that are not spectacular. This is really a very unique space, and it's one that I think we need to nourish, and we need for it to prosper, because it is an alternative that the world needs. It's a necessity. It really is, and we need a DERO marketplace, a DERO world to scale as fast as possible. We really do. It's no longer a matter of like, well, we'll just wait till like hyper Bitcoinization happens. Dude, BlackRock controls the vast majority of Bitcoin miners now. Hello, wake up, wake up.
Hey, Raph, what's up? Hope everybody's well. I got a question from Mr. A. So I make art, and I've been inscribing some stuff on BTC. And before I did that, before I became aware of the Ordinals thing happening there, I hadn't gotten into NFTs on ETH just because what I understand about ETH, and it was never appealing to me as an artist. And I was interested in getting involved in DERO and putting NFTs there before I kind of got sucked into the Ordinal world. And I'm still interested in coming over and creating a collection for DERO or on DERO. And I'm just wondering if you could give me kind of an overview of what some of like the like, I guess, simply first one, where the best place to start to like get involved, to like learn how to go about doing that would be. And then like two, what are some of the advantages or things that you love apart from just understanding the underlying technology that you like about putting NFTs on DERO?
Okay, so the first question was how to go about doing that. So in a way, DERO and ETH are similar in the fact that the files themselves are not stored on chain like Ordinals. They're stored on IPFS for now. That's how DERO works. A file storage solution is on the long-term plan that will come, but right now it's not. So they're pretty much the same as ETH. They're stored on IPFS, and the rest of it is done on DERO chain. The process of doing that for ETH is obviously a lot easier because ETH is older and it's been around for a long time. So there's lots of GUIs and even websites that allow you to do NFT art generation and minting all in one place. So that makes it really simple. DERO NFTs are not even a year old yet. I believe they launched almost a year ago, like this month. So that is the first thing. It's very early on it. So you still have to use a command line to it. The second part. Sorry, what was the question?
I'm sorry. Was Mr. A rugging or was it me, Shrunk?
I think it was you.
It was you, Ralph.
All right. I'm going to stay really, really close to the internet.
Okay, so as I was saying, the DERO NFTs has only been out for not even a year. So that makes it more difficult. You have to use a command line to it. You have to have a DERO node. The local DERO node would be optimal because it makes the minting process faster. You're not relying on a remote node that has failed attempts at minting as you keep doing it, especially doing a lot of them. Talking like 1,000 plus. You probably want to have a DERO node that's fully synced. That takes time. Syncing a full DERO node completely can take a long time. So that's the first step of doing that. Then you need a wallet, and the wallet needs to be synced to that node. And then from that, we'll need the interface. The G45 has designed, which is called DEROsphere. That's a smart contract interaction interface, which is also command line. So you have to get that connected to your wallet and connected to the node with the RPC bridge. So that's very technical. And then once that's done, assuming your image has been uploaded to IPFS and metadata is done, you can begin the minting process. So that's all manually done right now, which is intense. I'm not going to say it's easy. And it's done all automatically by most DERO NFT creation website and software. So that's the hard part about doing it. Now, DERO NFT's website is a completely centralized interface. That's the first step. That's the first difference between DERO NFTs and OpenSea. DERO NFTs, it's all on-chain. Your buy orders are on-chain. Your sell orders are on-chain. The NFT collections are on-chain. The bidding for auctions is on-chain. The auctions complete on-chain. Everything's on-chain. So It's completely decentralized. It cannot be censored. Someone could easily spin up another copy of it, assuming someone has a copy of it, another domain name. If the one domain gets taken down, everything's still there. All those are there. All the transactions are there. Like everything's there. So that's the first beauty.
What about on like the servers that they're stored on? Like you're saying is like ETH. Like isn't that a vulnerability?
IPFS is a decentralized file storage system.
Oh, okay. It's not AWS.
So
it's IFPS.
It's IPFS. Yes.
IPFS.
That's
okay.
Yeah, interplanetary file system. That's what
okay.
Basically what most ETH NFTs use. I mean, not all of them, but that's basically the best way of doing it because it's decentralized. The images can live forever if one of the nodes go down, and it can still function. So that's the first thing. Now, going back to DERO's website being decentralized, G45 was working on a self-mint feature. And if you have an actual local wallet connected, not the website wallet connected, and if you go to the menus, you actually see there is a minting interface that's been worked on, but it's not finished. And I believe that was paused so you could work on the wallet, the mobile wallet we discussed at the beginning of this conversation. And I believe that once that's completed and that wallet can talk to this website in a smooth fashion, minting DERO NFTs using that wallet is going to be a lot easier than it is today. And that's when people like you who are maybe not, I don't know if you're tech savvy or not, at that point you'll be able to do it.
I am not. Yeah, I'm not. Okay. I mean, like I can follow like instructions, but like a lot of what you just said with the command line stuff and whatever, that stuff kind of goes over my head. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that when it is a little bit easier. And check out my art, Mr. A, if you want to. I know you got your own collections, but if you want to have like get a few DERO themed 101s by Boy Schwank, I'd love to collab on something. But yeah, thanks for the answer. I appreciate you.
Yeah. And I believe there was one last part to your question, which is what I liked about DERO NFTs compared to other NFTs. And well, first and foremost, I like the fact that it is completely decentralized, trustless marketplace. It's not like OpenSea, so therefore it can be censored. The IRS can't go to them and say, give me all your wallets and all the sales and chase down people for tax dollars selling NFTs. So that's the first part that I really like about it. The second part is the interface is really clean, and I like the interface. And there's a reason why DERO NFTs has been the most used dApp on DERO is because the interface is so clean. And we have a clean interface like that, it attracts people using it. And I think this message should go to all DERO devs that are making apps, is that focus on your UI because that's going to get usage. Having a very clean UI is essential to making that happen. And that's the second reason why I like DERO NFT so much. And why I compare it to DERO BNB, which is in beta out today. So you can be able to book a BNB using DERO in the very near future. Even actually now, I think it's fully functional right now. That interface is really clean. And when you go look at it, it's derbnb.io. Have a look at that and you'll see that it's a very nice interface, similar to high-end websites. And that's what you want to see for dApps to go and explode, along with a mobile wallet, which is coming. So I think all the pieces are in place for DERO to be super successful, for NFTs to have a great next year. We just have to actually push through and get out of our inner circles and actually expand outward. Join other spaces like this for other NFT communities and mention DERO, mention the art that's there, mention your art, talk about that, and bring people in and make all the other parts the focus first and leave privacy as the last point.
Dope. Thanks, man. Appreciate you. Thanks, Raph. I got to go take care of the kid. So thanks for having me up.
Awesome, Sean. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah. Thanks for the question.
Does anyone else from the audience want to jump up and ask questions of Mr. A and myself while we're here?
Yeah. I am getting close to losing reception in the near future. So if I drop before I can say goodbye, just be aware that's what's occurred.
Right on. Well, thank you for coming in from your boat, man. I appreciate it. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's been quite fun. It's actually worked out better than I expected. So
it's super cool, man. Super cool. What I love about these technologies, you can be like secluded and yet be extremely interconnected. And now with DERO, we can be extremely private and extremely interconnected. So we have incredible ingredients here for us to cook amazing applications within this network that is very new. And it's honestly, when we talk about concepts in crypto, this is the most cutting edge by far. Extreme privacy, smart contract protocol. We're going to keep having spaces regarding DERO, guys. We're going to keep this conversation going. And I want one of you guys in the audience to actually take it upon yourself to host your own DERO spaces here on X Space. You guys got to get out of the privacy circle within Discord or wherever else you guys chat. You guys have to get out, and the place to get out is here. And that's why I figured, like, might as well, lead by example and get these conversations going, expose more people to these, to DERO, because there's nothing else like it, guys. And DERO really challenges the rest of the crypto space to step up your game.
Well, I'll probably have time for at least one more question if anybody is willing. So by all means, take the opportunity now before I have to log out.
We got Wooist. How you doing, Wooist? Good evening. Good morning.
Appreciate the Ordinals talk the other day too. That was real insightful, and it kind of got me thinking with what Mr. A was laying out earlier, just about privacy in general and how privacy to me means private property. And so on this network, if we can own more of our data, own more of our creations in the form of private networks, it extends freedom into private property in a different way. And so my question is on the lines of the NFTs, if you want to, say, mint some kind of either podcast or song or book or some of other artwork, or like a LLC kind of agreement between business partners, something where it's minted into the blockchain, it's recorded, so if there's ever a dispute, you have it on chain, but it's also private. I'm kind of new to NFTs in general, so that was kind of my question. How would that look on DERO? How is that going to be made easier for people? Like I'm similar to Schwank, where I'm not very tech savvy, so I just kind of wanted to throw it out there. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, I'll take that one. Again, like I said, we're very, very early. The NFT marketplace is not even a year old. It's just on the edge of making its first anniversary. And doing audio, like you said, like you mentioned, like podcasts, that's also already possible to do with DERO. The audio itself is stored on IPFS, obviously, because that's how audio NFTs are done. And they're also going to be done the same way in DERO. So that's where you store the actual audio. Text files can be stored on chain, but there is a size limit on the block. And I believe it's 10 kilobytes. So anything above that, you'd be having to go to IPFS to store your signed contract on chain for security. So that's another limitation. It's not like Ordinals, which is super easy. Drag and drop your files, it mints it, it puts it all on the actual Bitcoin blockchain itself, and it's there forever. It's not quite like that. And the reason why it's not like that is speed. That's what the block size that DERO has. Even though it's a small block, that happen every 18 seconds, and there's mini blocks in between each block every 1 second. So those block sizes, because they're small, they allow for a very fast and efficient blockchain. And so you have to offload all the heavy stuff to another place. Going back to the fact that it's brand new, and why would someone like you who's not tech savvy do it? I think it's a matter of patience to wait for the devs to catch up with the interface and UI, like the new wallet that's on the edge of getting released, and website updates that will allow minting by anyone to put that on the marketplace, which is decentralized. And once that's live, it requires very little human interaction to manage collections by administrators. And I think that's what G45 is striving for, is to allow anyone to put things up, and the marketplace decides what it is that will be successful on its own without any interference by administrators to put up collections or manage minting and all those things. So it's a matter of patience. We're close, but again, we have to be patient the same way we're patient with Monero at the beginning. And when the moment comes, it will hit, and it will hit fast. And those who got into the system early and acquired DERO and participated and got NFTs super cheap, when there's an NFT bubble, they'll be able to sell things for a lot more. And when there's a DERO bubble, they'll be able to sell DERO for a lot more. And I think in the next, let's call it 3 months, are probably a generational wealth opportunity to accumulate as much DERO and get to the technology as much as possible in preparation for the next steps. And I know things are coming on DERO that no one even knows about. And when those things happen on DERO, it's going to go nuts. So make sure that you're well positioned for that over 3 months, and take any opportunity to buy it as close to $2. The same way that Monero dropped from 25 to $2 way back when. Do the same thing, and stick to the plan that it will eventually turn around and go a lot higher.
Right on, right on. Thank you, Mr. A. Gobelki Teple. Help it. Did I say your name right?
It's Gobekli Tepe.
And
the ancient civilization.
All right. Yes, I've heard of it. And Quest for Crypto. How you guys doing tonight? How you guys doing today? Good morning. Good morning.
So I got a quick one for Mr. A before he hops off. So I think one of the things that's going to drive people to this, just like so many other cryptos, is number go up technology. And I don't know if Mr. A wants to keep, predictions and things like that, logarithmic chart information to the paid Vigilante group, which I would totally understand and respect. But I think, we're talking about what's going to drive people to this, not talking about the privacy and keeping it to the privacy nerds in the Discord. But I think, could, get people thinking about this is a pretty good investment potentially. I think that's a interesting way to get people to talk about this. So I don't know if Mr. A wanted to go in a little more in depth in a public forum on that.
Well, I pretty much gave it away. I said the bottom of the log channel is around $2, so let's load up heavy on there. That's basically what we got to do. And then top of the channel, the longer it takes, the higher it goes. So to go from bottom of the channel, top of the channel today, it would be like $90. Supposed to do it in December, it will be like 100 and something. And the longer we take riding the bottom of that channel, the higher it's going to go later. So the channel remains intact. It's not broken, and even the channel is also not written in stone. Things can break down below the channel for a few weeks and come back up again. I mean, Bitcoin broke below its own channel during the FTX collapse and then regained it, so that's fine. It was actually below it for 9 weeks or so. So the channel is not an absolute. Oh, it broke down below the channel, it's over. DERO's dead. It's not like that. It could go below $2 temporarily, but that's just an opportunity to buy more. And I wouldn't stress too much about it. I'll be focusing on accumulating the bottom of it to sell on the top of it later. And that's the best we can do with this. Obviously, manage risk, of course. Don't go all in on one thing all the time. Always spread your risk amongst other things, and always have some lower risk crypto like Bitcoin to keep your portfolio balanced. Because there's a Bitcoin season, an altcoin season, and during a Bitcoin season, all suffer, and during an altcoin season, Bitcoin suffers. So you want to balance in and out of those two things and grow your wealth over time. I think rationals be very well are not one to hodl anything for 99% corrections. And I don't think selling is a sin. And when we get to the top of the DERO channel, you sell the shit out of it, take some profits, and when we get to the bottom of the channel again, you more and you do it again. And that's the you need to be following.
Yeah, you'll definitely learn a lot. You'll become a stoic really quick hanging out with Mr. A&W. Trust me, it's actually good medicine, guys.
Yeah, I got to say that's my favorite. I actually listen to it as a podcast at times on the way home from work, and halfway almost crash into people looking at when they're showing an interesting thing on the chart. But it's kind of my only time to listen to it. So I really appreciate that. I get a huge amount of enjoyment and information on it, and learning all these new keywords, and hopefully I'll eventually learn how to chart. But for right now, I'm happy to pay for the information, and I do just wanted to say thank you guys for that. But the other thing I wanted to say is that the speed of DERO, when I took it off the exchange for the first time, and you watch for that, I think 18-second block in its share, and you can send it back right away and send it back and forth a few times. It's crazy when you're used to a 10-minute block. So that's just another cool thing about it. But all right, I'm going to hop off here.
Awesome, dude. Keep talking. That's good stuff. It's good to know. The thing is that when we invest in a cryptocurrency, we're investing in each other. That's my thing. I see that beyond the technology, there's people there, and when I buy DERO, I'm investing in you guys. Is the way I see it, and we're all holding this together. Obviously, that stoic perspective of TA is very real. Human psychology is very real. So, by all means, have a holistic perspective on everything.
Hey,
guys, I gotta step off, guys. I gotta go. I'm sorry, but as interesting as it is, I actually have to do other things right now, unfortunately. But it's been a total pleasure, and I really do look forward to the next space. And I'll strive to be at that one, and I'll have to cut it short next time. So thanks a lot, everybody.
Thank you for being with us, Mr. A. Really appreciate it.
All right. Cheers.
Cheers, man. Quest for Crypto, how are you? Good morning. Good morning.
Hey, Raph, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. Happy to be here with you guys. It's yeah, man. Missing Sunday really, like, dude. It felt like I let my mom down. It was something else, man. Because I realized right away, I'm like, DERO needs to be, DERO is something that the world needs to know, and so by all means, guys, like, just pick up the phone like you're doing right now and start an X space. Start talking about this technology. Get out there, guys.
And that's the impetus of me wanting to speak with you right now. Is I feel like I'm a very good communicator, and I can do my part as an individual to spread the word about DERO and all the wonderful benefits that it has. And the way that I see myself is like a relationship manager, and I want to get in touch with as many artists as possible to say, hey, we have a new space. You probably never heard of it, but it's DERO NFTs. Very affordable. It's growing. It's growing by leaps and bounds. And I want to bring as many cool and talented and diverse groups of artists on chain to show them what real NFTs are, what real digital tools and digital assets look like. And I want to be able to do that just not only for the sake of like growth of the network, because I think that's going to happen naturally, but also because you're just building that web and that network of creative folks in this space.
Yeah, guys, like Bitcoin and Ethereum are both networks that are, unfortunately, they're leading people into tyranny. So it's no longer an option to have a third option, the DERO option. It's actually like imperative for there to be a competitive drive that interconnects us while it gives us extreme privacy so that we can be our genuine selves in the market. And so, yeah, Quest for Crypto. By all means, dude, if you have a space, I'll jump on. If I'm not busy, I'll jump on. I'll listen to you, and I will join the chat. Because now I don't that's the thing, man. We can't. You guys, as much as I want you just to be like, yeah, Crypto Vigilante is everything, dude. Crypto Vigilante is a group, but you guys are equally as important. Everybody here is important, and everybody has something to bring to the table. And that's something that we all have to be aware of, like we all bring something to the table. So by all means, follow Quest for Crypto, and whenever you see him, whenever you see his icon lit up purple on X Spaces, more likely he's on a space talking about DERO. So there you go. Yeah,
definitely appreciate that. But I like working on crypto projects because there are no orders from headquarters. There's really just kind of a group of people working together and saying, okay, what solution are you working on? What's the most important to you? And what are you doing over there? Okay, you're working on a wallet. That's cool. How can I help support that? How can I do some user testing or whatever? And it's all just kind of people working together for that same type of common goal and purpose. And if I have to be the one to be the number one communicator for DERO, that's what I want to be. And I'd love to be able to have that opportunity to share with people, just have these conversations like you're having, Raph, and talk about, the pros and cons and what we can do and what are the next steps.
So what are the next steps?
What does DERO need? Just like what you talked about. I mean, I just summarized in notes about, we were talking about the benefits of DERO. And what are the best selling points? Secure and reliable, smart contracts, the speed, how fast it is, how fast those 18-second blocks get completed, and how that money or that DERO can change in a wallet super quick. And then just the tools that are being built. This wallet that's in testing, I have it on my computer, and I've ran it multiple different times. It works really good. There's a few little kinks here and there, but I mean, like, it's very promising because when I first got into DERO, there wasn't a wallet available. It was all CLI, which is fine, but very few people have that kind of aptitude to be able to run things on a command line.
Can you guys hear me?
We hear you now.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's about getting out there and spreading the nation. Most people don't even in crypto don't even know that DERO exists at this point. And so, keep that in mind that this is something very unique, guys. I actually think that I have a theory. I think that DERO is so unique in its market offering as a network that I think it's going to end up becoming the leading privacy cryptocurrency. I think it's going to overpass Monero. I know it's a big challenge to say that. I think it's why is that? Why am I saying that? Because DERO is a completely purple cow. It's something completely different, unlike anything we've ever seen. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, it's written from scratch. It's not a copy of a copy. This is not a fork of anything. It's its own entity.
Guys, if you were to talk to someone right now, listening and learning about DERO for the first time, what message would you want to send them?
I think the value proposition of secure and reliable, and the focus of this is a unique tool. It's not something that has any type of derivatives or an iteration of previously, and it's being built in a way that people are building capabilities on it day by day. They were talking about Airbnb earlier that just went live today, but they've been working on that for long period of time, right? DERO NFT is the same thing. So once these more tools become integrated and built and utilized by people in the community, that's only going to build that growth of the network.
Awesome. What do you think, Gobel? Keep the template. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, guys, it's this is an ongoing conversation. This is not going to stop. We're only getting started. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to share with you guys something that we find inspiring and amazing. Till next time, guys. Peace, love, anarchy.
Thank you.
Can you guys hear me?
We hear you now.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah, it's about getting out there and spreading the nation. Most people don't even in crypto don't even know that DERO exists at this point. And so, keep that in mind that this is something very unique, guys. I actually think that I have a theory. I think that DERO is so unique in its market offering as a network that I think it's going to end up becoming the leading privacy cryptocurrency. I think it's going to overpass Monero. I know it's a big challenge to say that. I think it's why is that? Why am I saying that? Because DERO is a completely purple cow. It's something completely different, unlike anything we've ever seen. That's why I'm saying that.
Yeah, it's written from scratch. It's not a copy of a copy. This is not a fork of anything. It's its own entity.
Guys, if you were to talk to someone right now, listening and learning about DERO for the first time, what message would you want to send them?
I think the value proposition of secure and reliable, and the focus of, this is a unique tool. It's not something that has any type of derivatives or an iteration of previously, and it's being built in a way that people are building capabilities on it day by day. They were talking about Airbnb earlier, that just went live today, but they've been working on that for long period of time, right? DERO NFT is the same thing. So once these more tools become integrated and built and utilized by people in the community, that's only going to build that growth of the network.
Awesome. What do you think, Gobel? Keep it template. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, bro.
Yeah, guys, it's this is an ongoing conversation. This is not going to stop. We're only getting started. So thank you very much for joining us tonight. It was a pleasure to share with you guys something that we find inspiring and amazing. Till next time, guys. Peace, love, anarchy.
Thank you.